Okay, the next problem I want to talk about, it's of a slightly different nature. Instead of showing two things are equal, I guess we're showing two things are not equal. The question is, can you come up with statements A and B such that A implies B is true, but B implies A is false? Let me give you an idea how to approach something like this. So A implies B is true, but B implies A is false. So it's kind of interesting what type of things that you're thinking A and B have to be. So I guess intuitively you might come up with A and B as like, X is a dog, B is like X is an animal, or something like that, and that might even work. Okay. So let's give that approach a shot. So basically just guess something that A implies B is true, and then see if B implies A is true. Okay, so that A equals X is a dog, B equals X is an animal. A implies B is true. If X is a dog, then X is an animal. Okay, and we agreed that was true. Now, what about B implies A? So B implies A it's also known as the converse. I'll go into that a little bit later. So B implies A equals if X is an animal, then X is a dog. So this is false because there are animals that are not dogs. So sometimes you have X is an animal, but X is a cat. So this statement is definitely not always true. So another way you might think about it is to be sort of more I don't know, fundamental with what statements are. I mean, like the simplest examples of statements are just things that are like just true and just false. Okay, or like something that's just true. Or like since we only care about the truth value of the statements, it might be a good idea to start with an example, like to see what truth values will make it false. I mean, there's only one way to make B implies A false. So B implies A is false only when B is true, but A is false. Okay. But see, in this case, A implies B is actually true. Okay. Because false implies true is a true statement. And that was part of our definition of implication. So we actually have a very simple example of when A implies B is true and B implies A is false. And so what this really illustrates is, so if you have A implies, if you have a statement is of the form A implies B. Okay. Then then B implies A is called the converse of the statement. So this is the definition of converse. And so what we just illustrated is that if a statement is true, its converse might not be true. Okay? And this is definitely one of the most common fallacies in logic. So if it's like, if it's raining, then I will need an umbrella. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be raining. Some people might need an umbrella to protect themselves from the sun.